Last summer, something happened that left me traumatized. I was planning a hunting trip at the legendary Mount Shasta. I'm a paranormal nerd, love all things about it, and I know about all of the strange happenings that go on there, so I guess I set myself up for what happened. I was setting up a reservation when I got a call. "Hey, I just took a week off work. You want to do something?" said my friend Isaac. "Oh, I'm actually setting up a camp reservation right now," I replied. "Perfect. Where?" "Mount Shasta." "Mount Shasta?" Isaac asked, quizzically. "What's wrong with Mount Shasta?" "Dude, you know about all the crazy shit that goes on there? Disappearances, Bigfoot and Skinwalker encounters? Are you sure about this?" I mean, yeah, all that stuff is off-putting, but come on, it's Mount fucking Shasta. "All right, I'll come, but you're paying for me." Fast forward 2 weeks, and me and Isaac were on our way to Mount Shasta. We were about a day away by car, so we decided to make a road trip out of it. We stopped at local diners and gas stations to get some more snacks, tape, and other camping stuff. We didn't want to sleep in any dingy motels, so we just slept in the car. Eventually, we made it to Mount Shasta, got past the gate, and made it up to our spot. Everything was uneventful and perfect. I even forgot we were on a mountain known for horrible things. When we got to the area, it was around 2 p.m., so we had plenty of time before dark. We got the tent, fireplace, and grill all set up by 5 p.m. I was really excited about hunting and wanted to get to it right away. I love hunting, and I don't get to do it often because of my job. "You want to go out hunting with me?" I asked Isaac. "Nah, we can go tomorrow. I want to stay here and relax a little," he replied, cracking open a beer. "All right, but I still really want to go, so I'll go out for an hour, let's say, and I'll come back. Maybe I'll catch a deer for food." "Okay, you go off on your little trip. I'll stay here and get buzzed," he said, getting into full relaxation mode. My hunting loadout was pretty simple. Compound bow, hunting knife, rope. Only special thing was a 9mm pistol in case shit really hit the fan. Another thing I do is mark my arrows with red masking tape. I do this to make sure I know which arrow is mine and don't steal anyone else's. When I walked into the forest, I felt nothing. No dread, fear, or anything negative. I've always wanted to believe, but nothing ever came up in my life. This was the first time. I was quiet, walking slowly to make sure I could hear or see anything that came by. Snap. I immediately got down behind a decent-sized boulder, readied my bow, and grabbed an arrow. I heard walking and rustling through the bushes. Peeking around the boulder, I watched a deer walk out of the bushes. "What the fuck?" I thought to myself. This wasn't a deer. It was different. It was huge, probably about 50% larger than a fully grown moose. And I know for a fact it wasn't a moose. Its head and antlers were that of a deer. It also was a light gray with white stripes going randomly across it. It was also incredibly furry, not like the smooth fur of a normal deer. Thick, long, incredibly fuzzy like a golden retriever. Its antlers were huge, 2 times the size of what they should be compared to the body, and they were pitch black. And its eyes were red, deep blood red. It was weird. It felt majestic, beautiful, like a unicorn, but at the same time, it activated my fight or flight instincts. I felt like I should run away as fast as I could. And then I realized the forest was silent, really silent. No birds, not even any rustling leaves. The wind went still, as if a predator was nearby. I waited for about 5 minutes, staring at the deer, sniffing the floor, eating grass, and just sitting there. I eventually just went, fuck it, I'm probably just overthinking it. I drew my bow and aimed it at the deer. I made no noise, but somehow it noticed me. We stared at each other for a second before it bolted away, making loud thumps as it sprinted away. I fired my bow, going into the brush after the deer. Then I heard a scream, not like that of a deer, but a man. The only thing I could relate the scream to is Wolverine. The Marvel character, not the animal. It was a mix of pain and rage. I immediately started freaking out, thinking I just hit a poor man trying to hunt as well. "Holy shit! Mate, are you okay?" I yelled out. I waited for a response, but nothing. No voice. "Hello?" Still nothing. I started thinking I shot him in the head and killed him. So I walk over, thinking I see a body, but I don't see anyone. I looked around for 10 minutes, searching everything, but no footprints or any sign of another person being there. I couldn't find my arrow either, meaning I probably hit the deer. Then the pieces started clicking in my mind. The deer screamed like a man. What deer could scream like that? And what kind of deer looks like that? And then the noise of the forest returned. All the birds started chirping, and then I immediately felt a breeze. I felt like I was going to throw up. Something was wrong with this. Then my 1-hour alarm went off, meaning I should go back. I started walking back, trying not to think of what happened. Eventually, I made it back and slumped into a seat. Isaac had already lit up the fire and put some patties on it. Isaac looks over at me. "Get anything good?" Isaac asked, sipping a beer. "No, got nothing." "Damn, but we're going out again tomorrow and for longer, so maybe we'll find something." "Yeah, nothing else really happened for the rest of the night. We just made burgers, drank beer, listened to music, talked, and then went to bed." The next morning, me and Isaac woke up early. I opened the tent and walked out as Isaac looked at his phone. I stepped out, then froze. An arrow was in the ground. As I said before, I mark my arrows, and this was my arrow. The tip was pointed up, and it was covered in a black liquid. I picked it up and smelt the liquid, and it smelt like blood. But it was black. And whose blood is this? I looked around and see my bow. It was perched up against the fireplace. My bow was inside my tent. How did it get out here? Then I noticed that the string was snapped, cut straight in half. Someone went inside our tent, grabbed my bow and an arrow, dug the arrow in the ground, tip up, covered it in a black blood-smelling liquid, and snapped my bowstring? I was confused, and so many thoughts were going through my head when I had an instinct to look behind me. I turned around and saw the deer, the same one from yesterday. It was staring at me, looking into my soul. It didn't say anything, but I could tell that the arrow in the ground was the one I struck it with, and the liquid was its blood. And it was the one who snapped my bow, payback for when I shot it. The deer turned around and walked away, leaving me standing there. I snapped out of the trance I was in and grabbed my arrow and cleaned it off. Isaac came out and asked what happened to my bow, and I told him that someone probably entered our tent, took my bow, and snapped the string.
"Well, we're on Mount Shasta, so maybe it was Bigfoot or even a Skinwalker," Isaac said to me. "Yeah," I replied, knowing it was. I was able to repair the bow and make sure everything was ready for the hunt. We started eating breakfast, which was just some granola bars and organic orange juice. We ate in silence. All I could think of was running into the deer again, and about whatever it was. We finished our breakfast and got ready to walk into the forest. I was scared to walk into the forest and go hunting, but I still really wanted to go hunting and try to catch an actual deer. I stood at the edge of the forest, staring into it, trying to decide whether I should go in and risk seeing the deer or bail out on the trip and let Isaac go on alone. As I was thinking, Isaac just walked in and asked if I was coming or not. Isaac had a similar hunting loadout to me with a compound bow and a hunting knife, but he has some caveman blood in him because he also had a spear. He didn't have a pistol like me because he doesn't have a license nor any knowledge of them. We walked for about an hour, not seeing or hearing anything. I tried to forget about the deer, so I started talking with Isaac. After a minute of talking, I completely forgot about the deer and we were just peacefully walking. We made it to the edge of a cliff. This cliff was one of the walls of a big valley with walls that I would assume to be a few 100 yards high, and in the middle was a large river, about 2 yards in width. We stood at the top of it for a minute, taking in the view, when Isaac said something. "Mate, you see that?" Isaac said to me. I looked over at what Isaac was pointing at and my heart stopped and my blood ran cold. It was the deer, just sipping out the river. Like before, the deer looked at us, and even though it was about 200 yards away, I could tell it was looking at me. Isaac, or the caveman in him, immediately drew his bow at the thing. "No, don't!" I screamed, ripping the bow out of his hand. This angered the deer. Its eyes started glowing as it rose on its hind legs. Me and Isaac watched in horror as the deer transformed. Arms grew in length, hooves turned to claws, antlers grew even larger, and its fur became darker and more matted. It grew to about 8 to 9 feet tall, with arms stretching probably 7 feet. It let out a roar, but it wasn't animalistic. It was like a war cry of a tribal chief. Then it charged at us, leaping over the river and dashing towards the cliff. Me and Isaac started running back and separated. I ducked behind a big rock a few feet into the tree line, and Isaac ran into the trees and hid in a bush. Only a few seconds after the thing started running at us, it made it to the top of the cliff. It started walking down the path, growling in a stance that was ready to pounce. It walked past where I was, not seeing me. I waited for a minute before trying to sneak out from behind the rock. I got to the tree line and was able to see Isaac in the bush. I nodded at him and walked out into the path. Shit, the deer was there, about 150 feet away from me, staring me down. I was all out of flight, so I chose to fight. I unholstered my 9mm and started firing at the deer. It charged down the path. I emptied the whole mag on it, but it barely faltered, although I might have missed a few shots because I was shaking. I wasn't able to load another mag before it tackled me. It pinned me down before saying in a deep man's voice, "I warned you." It raised its claw in the air, ready to strike. Time slowed down. I wasn't ready to die, and not like this. But then a spear went through the deer's head. The deer screeched in pain as it fell to the floor. I shot up from the ground as fast as I could. Isaac walked over and fired 2 arrows into its head. The deer had stopped screeching, but we weren't going to take any chances. We stabbed it multiple times. I fired another entire mag into its head at point blank, and Isaac even cut its head off. We beat the living hell out of it for an hour. Both of us out of breath, we walked back to our campsite. Neither of us talked. I sat down in a chair, exhausted, as my adrenaline went down. But Isaac was packing up our stuff. "What are you doing? We still have 2 days left," I asked. "You really want to stay here after that?" He responded. That shut me up for a minute before I spoke again. "You know, I saw the deer yesterday." "You what?" I proceeded to tell him about the day before, and how the deer cut my bow, and it attacked us because I hadn't listened to its warning. "Why didn't you tell me about any of this?" "I didn't want to freak you out. This was supposed to be a nice, peaceful hunting trip, not a monster hunting horror movie." I got up and joined Isaac in packing. We were silent the whole time. We finished up and walked down the mountain. I looked around. Mount Shasta is such a beautiful place, but it has many unseen and unknown horrors. We made it to my truck. We got in and drove off. We didn't talk for the rest of the drive home, even the next day and the week. All he did was send me a text saying to never bring this up to him and to never ask him to go to Mount Shasta. This is the first time I had the courage to sit down and write about it, since I heard that writing down your trauma helps, and it has helped, but this will never truly leave me. I don't know if this was a skinwalker or whatever, but I know I don't want to believe anymore.